Hello and welcome to the Great Big Money Experiment, where I lay my finances bare as I try to prove financial independence and early retirement is possible no matter your income today. In this video, we will update my trackers for June to July 2020 and talk about how you go about creating a budget. Alright, first we will look at my expenses for this month. I have posted a video about what every expense category includes and doesn't include. We will also redefine some of the categories in that video, so check it out. I'll link it in the description. This month was a rough month expense-wise. The reason for this is that we set up home in a new province. This involved buying furniture, even though it was second-hand, having the car inspected so that it can be registered in the new province. We had to pay a damage deposit, and we paid 1 year's car insurance up front. I also bought myself a new second-hand laptop. The only expense that was down was rent. It decreased substantially as we moved from accommodation in an Airbnb to a long-term rental. We rent a one-bedroom apartment that includes everything except power and laundry. We also have a storage locker in our previous province with most of our stuff in, that I also include in the rent. Check out the progress tab of our website for a rolling 12-month view of all my expenses. In this graph, we see my expenses by month. It has increased every month since the start of the experiment. You can see just how much higher the last month's expenses were in relation to the previous months. Time for a net worth update. Now that I have no more direct withdrawals from my checking account, there is no use in keeping a large balance in it. I had to use some of my savings to cover the outgoing cash flow of this past month, but the biggest decrease in my savings was due to moving $6,000 into self-directed investing. My credit card remains at a zero balance, although I still use it for almost everything that I buy. As mentioned, my self-directed investing got a $6,000 injection along with growth on both my tax-free savings account and my non-registered investment account. So despite my large expenses this month, my net worth still grew, but this is not the whole story. My cash flow took a hit. Net worth is very different than cash flow, and we'll get into that next month. We'll discuss why both of these concepts are important. This graph shows my net worth relative to my... Notice that the blue line is my net worth and that it is slowly increasing. I thought it would be good to track my credit score too, as it is part of your financial health. So here it is. My credit score has improved by 14 points over the last month to a total of 776. This is considered an excellent rating. Time for this month's discussion topic, budgeting. I don't recall explicitly giving you the steps to financial freedom before, so I'll do it here. The first three is set your goal. My goal is to have a net worth of $500,000 or more. Know your current state. That means tracking your expenses and net worth. Set a budget to guide and plan your spending. This is where we are now in the video series. In future videos, we will talk about reducing expenses, paying off debts, building an emergency fund, investing, and how to reevaluate your goals and keep tracking your expenses. So how do you go about setting your budget? Simply use an expense tracker. See how much you spend and on what, and set your budget according to that. Every month will be different. A budget isn't static, so think ahead about what expenses you expect to go up and what you expect to come down. A budget is also not in stone, it's flexible. It's merely a rough plan of where your money will go. A budget is also a quick gauge that can tell you whether or not you should buy the thing you want right now or if you should wait until the next month so that you don't blow your budget. Let me show you my budget for the next month. I put it alongside last month's expenses to give these numbers some context. Alcohol expense will hopefully go down as we plan on 1 bottle of wine every 2 weeks, and as our batch of wine that we brewed at home becomes drinkable. My cell phone expense remains constant. I over-budgeted for consumable house items as we aren't running low on any cleaners or toiletries, but we'll see. We might have to buy some smaller house items as we notice we've missed something in setting up home, so let's budget a little bit for that. Food will stay constant. Fuel will probably increase as I'm driving to work now 5 times a week. Hobby might increase. So far the only plan I have is on buying some brewing supplies, but I'll leave some fat in there for when I decide I want other stuff too. Insurance will decrease dramatically as we now live in a province where insurance is much cheaper. We also paid for the whole year up front. The only constant left is tenants insurance. I also expect that my previous payment to my insurance company will be reversed and I'll get a $200 and something refund. It's not reflected in this table though, for in case it doesn't happen. Healthcare expenses are hard to budget for because you never know what will happen. Rent will be less next month as we don't have to pay a damage deposit. We will be getting our first power bill though, and it's still pretty unknown how high it will be. Restaurants and entertainment will be more, as we've spent a couple of gift cards this past month, which isn't reflected in our expenses because they aren't out of pocket. I don't plan on saving for traveling at this stage. I have travel savings of about $1,000. That money isn't reflected anywhere in my net worth as I plan to spend it eventually. No plans are in place for buying clothes, I'll just leave $10 there in case I need something small. Auto maintenance is set at $30, which will mostly be cleaning supplies. The next oil change is still a far way out and everything else is still in good condition. Bank fees will stay steady at $11. Once my credit score is good enough, I'll probably switch exclusively to a no-fee bank account and get a no-fee credit card as well. Public transit is $20, which is enough for one fare with Uber or for a couple of bus rides if need be. The gift category is budgeted at $14.50 because this is my monthly donation to Open Insulin. The actual contribution might be different because of the fluctuation in exchange rates. If you or someone you know suffers from type 1 diabetes, check out Open Insulin in the description below. Education will be high this month. I've just hosted the Great Big Money Experiment website with a yearly subscription. This will cost about $150 or less. Be sure to check out the website by following the links in the description. If you have any questions or comments about the experiment, get in touch by leaving a comment. Remember to check out the website for all the resources I've built or used. I won't post anything there that I don't think it's helpful. And that's me signing off until next month. Stay frugal.